Just update on some things. Obviously, unbelievable support from our fans. Can't thank them enough to run out of that tunnel and see that kind of support from our fans and our students and everybody. It just means more than I can put into words. So hopefully that'll continue, starting with this home opener that we have this week against a really good Rice team. Really appreciated President Bush coming to both locker rooms, coming to see us. Those kind of things can have such a positive impact on young people when the president comes in and shows that he cares and it's important and he wants to wish us luck. And we handed him a helmet autographed by everybody on our football team, a Mean Green helmet, and just said thanks for your courage and your leadership from all of us in the Mean Green family. And it was real meaningful, and we really appreciate him taking the time to do that. Special teams captain this week be John Shalacy. Best game that he's played since he's been here on special teams. Made plays, had tackles, recovered fumbles. Just really appreciate what he's done. And good to see after what he'd done in camp. It doesn't surprise us because he's really made a move. He's emerged as, I think, one of our better special teams guys. Injuries, just quick, as always, I don't say anything about day-to-day, week-to-week, never have, never will. Rex Rollins is out for the year, unfortunately, broke his collarbone. All he's ever known is comebacks and work hard and get injured, and it just breaks your heart as a coach. One of the few things you really hate about this job, but that's one of them I hate, that he'll be done for the year. He had a concussion and a broken collarbone basically at the same time, so he's still in the Dallas hospital right now. He's recovering. Hopefully he'll be out real soon. We'll get an update here when I get out of the press conference, but he's done for the year. Other bad news, Daniel Kahn, our wide receiver that we put on scholarship after having a fantastic spring and two-a-days, has got a back injury. The good news, there's no surgery. The bad news is he's going to be out for the rest of the year. So we'll have nothing from a performance and participation standpoint for Daniel Kahn. So Kahn and Rex are both done for the year. The good news, as I said with Kahn, he's got 3 more years. He's a redshirt freshman. So we'll get him back for a lot in the future, but he will not be able to play anymore this year. We got a 24-hour rule in our program. Win, enjoy it for 24 hours and move on. You lose, learn from it. I'm sure it's stinging and hurts. Everybody works so hard, and you come up short in an opening game on the road. But we got to move on because it's a big week ahead. It's our Conference USA opener. It's a home opener. It's a chance to try and go 1-0 in our Conference USA race. It's a chance to try and go to 17-7 since we opened Apogee Stadium. There's no doubt in watching them just since yesterday, which we have with Rice, this year's team. It's the best team that David Bailiff's had since I've been coaching against him. This is just my 3rd year. I think he's beginning his 9th season there, but no question it's the best team he's had. Just complete domination in a lot of ways against Texas Saturday when you watch that thing and you break it down and you go, my gosh, how'd you lose this game? But they turned it over 4 times. It's hard to overcome 4 turnovers and win any games. We can sure relate to that after our game Saturday. They ran 96 plays, 96 offensive plays to Texas 38. Now that might be one of the all-time unbelievable statistics to have that many offensive plays, 96 to only 38 by Texas, and they still won 42-28. But 4 turnovers, a long punt return, recovered fumble for a touchdown, big plays, and that's how Texas won the game and pulled away. So, but really impressed with what I see. Travis Jackson's a heck of a football player, similar to Matt Davis of last week. He'll beat you with his feet. He'll beat you with his arm. He's quick. He's athletic. He's smart. They got a good scheme. They know what they're doing. We have to be able to defend the option this week because they run that as part of their offense. The wide receiver Parks had 8 catches for almost 80 yards. Really impressive. The redshirt freshman Stewart had almost 200 yards all-purpose. He catches our eye right away when you start watching tape since last night. And they've won 23 of their last 33 games, Rice has. So they're a confident football team, whether they're home or on the road, and it'll be a real challenge for us this week. So, but we're really looking forward to getting back home. We only have 5 shots in Apogee this year in this season, and learn from the mistakes of the other day. Remember how we did the good things, which we did, and build on those things. So open it up to questions. Not good enough. I didn't see there was anybody on offense, Joe, that was good enough. That's when you don't have any MVP on offense or even honorable mentions. Nobody played good enough. So, but it clearly wasn't good enough by anybody on our offense. There wasn't anybody that played winning football on offense. O-line, wide receivers, tight ends, quarterbacks, you name it. We didn't go out there and lay down, but nobody played up to the expectations we have, or I think they have of themselves. So it's not like we're going to bring out 8 new starters against Rice. We just have to do a better job of coaching and playing, executing, because we've really, really executed well in our offense through spring ball and through camp. But many of the same situations and many of the things that we've tried to get them ready for that we thought we'd see and they gave us, we didn't execute. And the end result was 1 touchdown, 2 field goals, and not good enough on offense. Clearly not good enough. And the ones that bother me as much as anything is when we get opportunities because of the great special teams plays that we got, again, plus 16, plus 30-yard line, go put them in the end zone. Go score touchdowns. Who knows, first game of the year, trying to build confidence, trying to really find out what the personality of your team, go knock those in the end zone. Who knows what the outcome of that game might have been. But we didn't. They rise up. SMU makes some good plays. They hold us to field goals. So we scored points. We're 2 for 2 in the red zone, but field goals instead of touchdowns. And that made a real difference, I think, in the outcome of the game.
How do you fix your guys' offense and make it more explosive back to what you guys were in 2013?
Yeah, you just keep working at it. You grind away. I'm not going to change responsibilities of offensive coaches. I'm not going to change play callers because I believe in the guys that we have. I've seen them work. I've seen them execute. I've seen real positive things. But the execution, the lack of execution was really, really disappointing. But we can fix it. I believe in my heart that we can with the coaches and the players that we have. But everybody's got to do a better job. Everyone has to do a better job. And it's not about more hours of preparation and more hours in the office or more hours on the practice field. It has nothing to do with that. When you get a chance, the lights come on, go execute and do the things that you've been coached to do. And we sure didn't do that Saturday, and we've got to. But head coaches and quarterbacks always get a lot of credit, more credit than we deserve when you win. Head coaches and quarterbacks are always going to get more blame, and probably some of that is really deserved because of the nature of the shoes we walk in. But I believe in Andrew McNulty. Everybody in our team does, all our coaches do. It was unanimous before we played that first game that he's our starting quarterback by everyone. It's still unanimous right now, and I don't need to take a vote. Believe me, they believe in Andrew, and he'll play better. There's no doubt in my mind. He needs to, and so does everybody else around him.
Ja'Kai Moore, he transferred from UAB in the offseason. Mm-hmm. What's the journey been like for him? What impact do you expect him to have?
Well, we hope to have more of an impact than we have so far from him. We brought him here to play, not watch, not spectate. So far he's helping a little bit on special teams. As a defensive back, he's been a disappointment. We wanted him to come in and impact us and play. He's a good young man. He's a good team guy. He's been real loyal. He's bought into our core values. He's bought into our plan to win. He's bought into what we ask of him. But pure results, we thought he would be playing more than he is right now. And we're sure not giving up on him, but we expect more out of him. So when we brought him in here and transferred, we thought he could impact our secondary more than he has. But he's got to keep the great attitude that he has, and he does. But as far as you just asked me a question, I'm giving you an honest answer. We thought he would be giving us more right now in our secondary. Play more, impact us more, make more plays, and contribute more in the secondary. So he's got to try and work towards that every day out here at practice.
Has the transition been difficult for him coming from a disbanded UAB program? Did that affect him at all?
Yeah, you'd have to ask him. I just see him from where we brought him in from. Horrible thing they had to go through. How about just from right underneath you, the program gets dropped, how devastating that might be. But I sent 3 of my coaches, 3 defensive coaches down there, including Mike Grant. I think I had a total of 4 coaches that went down there and evaluated, watched drills, watched the players, and he was a guy that we had targeted, even though he had been coming off an injury, that we targeted that he might have the size and the speed and the athleticism to come in and help us. And we're sure hoping that he can still do that.
Mm-hmm. Tackle. What did he do in the game that made you feel like
toughness, tenacity, finishing on some blocks under the lights. When the lights came on, he thrived on it, Joe. He didn't duck from the competition. He's got a long ways to go. But clearly right now, if he keeps practicing good this week, we'll start him. And nobody gets handed anything, as you know, in this program. You got to earn it. But he just gets better and better. And when he told me months ago, he said, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to start for you, Coach Mack. You hate to doubt that. And I've heard that through the years from a lot of guys that didn't do that and couldn't do that. this soon, but he said, I want to start for you as a freshman. I want to start this year as a freshman. So in the second game of the season, that's exactly where he's at right now. So, but he's got freakish size, obviously, with the height and the length and the weight and all that. But there's so much more to it than that. If you can't move your feet and you can't be coachable and you can't block all the fronts that you see and all the blitzes, they blitzed us like crazy Saturday. We knew that was coming. That's what they did, and we didn't execute. Rice didn't blitz hardly at all in their opener against Wagner because they didn't have to. They could line up in base and just thrash them, which they did. Saturday, they just blitzed like crazy against Texas. So take a wild guess what we think we'll get here Saturday, because SMU had success doing that. We'll see lots of blitzes, and that means you're going to get a lot of different looks up front. Got to be able to communicate, got to be able to think. He's smart, he's tough, he's real prideful, and we can't bring enough guys in this program like Jordan Murray, believe me. And he'll have a great career here at North Texas if he stays healthy and stays hungry.
You've talked a lot in the past about your offensive philosophy, wanting to establish a running game and kind of go from there. You guys did change a little bit in the offseason going to the up-tempo. Can you tell us a little bit about where you stand now, about what you think it takes to be successful offensively?
Yeah, that part hadn't really changed. You can go up-tempo and still be balanced and still be able to hopefully run the football and have a good, effective passing game. That's what we're trying to do. More plays, but more effective plays with what we do. And that's what we're trying to get to. And I really believe in my offensive staff. I really believe in our players that we can do that, Brett. But it was a bad display of that Saturday for much of the game. Not all the game. We had some times we really moved the ball efficiently and did some real good things. But all of a sudden, here's a fumble by a freshman playing his first game. There's another fumble by a running back that was playing for the first time really in his career as a running back. It's just inexcusable and unacceptable, and you can't do that and expect to win football games. So we had a fumble at wide receiver, we had a fumble at running back, we had 2 turnovers at quarterback, and good luck trying to win games when you turn it over 4 times. It's hard to do. Really, maybe some talented teams with draft picks all over the place might be able to overcome that and still win. Rarely do you do that. So that's the first thing we got to address and take care of. But I think we still have a really good plan. I just really like what we've done in the last few months. But through the lack of execution Saturday, it sure didn't show, and we want to be able to get back to that this week.
How much freedom does Canales have to call the plays? Do you have any direction that you give him on what you want to see in the game? Do you script a lot?
Yeah, I mean, we talk all week long and put plans together, but on game day, Mike Canales is going to call the offense. Just like on game day, Chris Kosh is going to call the defenses. On game day, Tommy and I work together on special teams as far as whether we're going to try and block a punt or return a punt, or let's get our defense out there for punt safe, or let's keep our punt return team. So that's what those phones are for, you talk. But I like going into games where you have, everybody puts their heads together during the week, game plan, and then have the confidence. Just like when we get through when a series is going on offensively, I'm not sitting there second guessing Mike Canales on a call. If there's something that didn't work, let's get together after the series is over. You're through calling. Keep your mind and your focus on that next play, because that's the most important thing, is the next play, and then we'll talk about it. But we talk a lot. I just got through meeting with the offensive coaches at 7:30 this morning. We meet on a lot of things, but in the end, you have to have, I think, is faith and confidence in your coaches and in your coordinators on game day. That you believe in them and what they're doing.
During the course of the game, do you give a direction like we're going to run here or pass?
Yeah, I mean sometimes, but not all the time. The last thing you need is somebody chirping your ear all the time about let's do this, let's do that, let's do that, let's do this. And I appreciate that as a coordinator, and I had one of the great defensive coordinators in the country and one of the great head coaches in the country in Barry Alvarez. And when I coordinated at Wisconsin, he wasn't chirping in my ear all the time about, what are you doing, Mac, because that blitz didn't work. Or they got a first down, or they scored a touchdown. What the hell's going on, Mac? Get it right. It's just, I think it's a level of professionalism. It's a level of communication. And so much of the work, as you know, going into game planning is done during the week. So that when you have that thing in front of you, either on the sidelines or up in the box, here's what we like. Here's the calls in these situations we like. And then it comes down to a coordinator getting a great feel for what are they trying to feature against what we're trying to feature, and then make your adjustments. And when it works, nothing sweeter than that. When it doesn't, nothing more bitter than that. And we want to try and get back to better execution this week.
Is it balance? Is that what you?
Yes, yes. Yeah, I'd love to have balance. Really would love to have balance. Good running game, good rush attack, good throwing game. Keep them on their heels a little bit. You get one-dimensional, it's hard to still win. Texas, as you saw, I think their starting quarterback only threw 7-8 passes. That's pretty one-dimensional. But they still were able to overcome that and still win a game. But they had some huge plays with their football team, whether it was a recovered fumble for a touchdown, punt return for a touchdown, turnovers, just some big plays. But we're going to try and achieve that. And I believe we still have the people in place to have that balance and achieve that balance.
I know that you said that Andy doesn't have the strongest arm.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he's got a big enough arm to be effective going down?
Yes, yeah, and that's what he needs to be. And whether you're throwing a check down, a quick throw, a quick out, down the field, crossing routes, wherever it is, you got to have vision, you got to have talent, you got to have a touch. But also, if they look at us and say, well, the guy really never puts the ball down the field, or he doesn't have the arm strength to get it down the field, it makes your job easier as a defensive back, as a defensive coordinator. But he still has those things. Believe me, has those. He has that ability to do that. And we've seen it out here in practice. And we did some things defensively Saturday that were sensational, obviously. When you have sudden change, I think 4 times, and 3 of the times we stopped them. I think they were down inside the 5-yard line 3 times, and they came away with 1 field goal. And yet our offense, many times the last 5 weeks, have really taken advantage of our defense and done a lot of positive things. But it sure didn't show up Saturday, and hopefully we'll see that again this week.
You have to be more effective in the passing game. You guys did throw
Absolutely.
balance, but you didn't get
Yeah.
much out of it.
No, and we got to get more routine plays, more big plays. Obviously, spread it around. There were, I think, 7, 8 guys that caught passes in that game Saturday, but we have to be more effective. Everything we're doing, everything we do, short yardage, long yardage, run, throw, trying to make an easy explanation, but that's the truth. We have to. We've got to be better. We've got to be more effective. And based on what I saw around the team in the locker room Saturday after the game, based on what I saw yesterday being around our football team, they're real determined to make sure that happens.
I know that since Rick B got here, he's focused on his attention on Mean Green Village. It's still expanding. What impact has that had on recruiting, and how convenient is it to be able to practice and train in one centralized location?
Yeah, it's a sensational setup. And, I've said this earlier, I think probably years ago, but this whole setup, patterned after the Olympic Village to the Mean Green Village, where you got one stop, and we keep our freshmen and sophomores in the dorm here. Meals are right here. Our offices are right here. Training room right here. Weight room right here. Academics right over there. Practice fields right here. And then the unbelievable last diamond was Apogee Stadium. So, and those buses run every 7 minutes from right over here all over campus. So it is a phenomenal setup. And all those years in the Big 10, Big 12, SEC, I never saw anything this convenient. This practical. It is a great setup, and it's easy to take it for granted. I don't, and I ask my players not to, because it is really a sensational setup, and parents love it. We bring young men into recruiting. Jordan Murray is an example. He was committed to San Diego State, BYU. He had a lot of opportunities. He had some really good choices. But when his family all came in that last recruiting weekend and saw the setup that we had here and the academic success we've had and where he would fit in the program and how we take care of him in the end, it was a great decision, we thought, to come to North Texas. But that's a piece of the puzzle that's very important to us in recruiting.
It's missing some key players. Did that hurt you guys, you think, last week? I mean, you had a couple guys out for the first quarter. You had a couple guys that were injured. You didn't have them at all.
Yeah.
Does that hurt this team a little bit? Just the way
Yeah, it's easy to just say, well, they're out and they're gone and use it kind of as an excuse. You know me, Brett. I'm just not going to do that. Whoever's not there for whatever reasons, the next guy's got to step up and do a better job. And we're hoping it's day to day, week to week with Jeff Wilson. He was obviously our best running back. He was in the spring. He has been in camp. No question, he's our starter when he is healthy. And we're going to watch him daily and hope that he can get back soon. He'll help us when he gets back. But you want all your guys. Obviously, part of the game is injuries that we all hate and dislike. But everybody says the same thing in high school, college, NFL: next man up, next guy up. But does the next guy up fill in and do a really good job or not? And that's what our challenge is to the guys that have to step up for us.
Defensively, you had some guys that played well. You had Bean, you had a few other newcomers. Are you happy with some of the signs you saw in defense?
Yeah, definitely. As I mentioned earlier, they were 0 for 2 on 4th down conversions. The unbelievable plays down there in the goal line, including a 4th down stop on the 1-yard line, turnovers, the sudden change. Anytime you play real good defense on sudden change, when you get down there inside the 5-yard line and you get the stops that we did, that just goes right back to the grit of the players. and the grit of the defense, I think. So we'll build on those things. The turnovers were good. We got off to a good start getting some turnovers defensively. You get 3 of them and you're still -1. You don't like that much as a head coach. But we really started getting some turnovers. We didn't get any interceptions, and we got the ability to do that in the back end. We didn't get any there, but we got some fumbles, and we had some hits, and we had some licks, and there was some physicality to our defense. And then I just think we got worn out late against a really good quarterback that's athletic, but he didn't need to look like RG3 late in the fourth quarter, which he did against us in that game. But we were on the field a lot defensively.
You talked about that next man up mentality. The loss of Kenny Byers obviously hurts this team. Does that give guys like Ja'Kai Moore the opportunity to step up in his absence?
Well, he doesn't play that position. He's a safety, but it does Zach Whitfield, any of those guys to get a chance to play more football. And Chad Davis did a lot of really good things the other day, but we miss the heck out of Kenny. The only good news out of that is, as I mentioned, he's got a 5th year. Thank God this is not his senior year. He doesn't have to stand around and watch and basically be a student coach, and that's the end of his career. He'll come back next year, but we're going to really miss him this year. He's clearly our best defensive back and one of the best leaders and probably the best leader on our football team the last few months. So, but he'll be there with us. He just can't go out there on Saturdays and help us win.
When you look at Rice offensively, what are the biggest concerns for you going into Saturday?
The balance, running the football. I think they got a really good offensive line, from what I've seen. Dreyfus is playing with tremendous confidence right now, and he's a smart player. And when he pulls it down to run with it, he's really super quick, but I see him a lot of times going through his progression, and he's really smart. Obviously, getting to Rice, you got to have good grades and be a smart player and a smart young man, and he is, and you see that when you watch him on tape. Really impressed with their backs, the redshirt freshman back that's got all those, Stewart, that's got all those all-purpose yards. He's got a lot of yards rushing the football. They rushed for 223 and I think almost 290 yards passing. Pretty balanced. And Texas got some guys up on defense now can play, and they're going to play at Texas, and they're going to play at the next level. So this is no joke. I mean, they're coming in here knowing what they're doing, and it's going to be a real threat and a real challenge for our defense.
Whitfield comes back and starts. How did that end up working out?
Pretty amazing story. Just credit his character and his coachability and how much it meant to make the most of this opportunity to come back. Made some plays the other day. Our corners made some real good plays on some down-the-field throws. And he'll get better and better because obviously, Brett, he's been away from football for quite a while. But the feelings were mutual when we connected. He wanted to come back, and we sure want him to come back. And that could go on and be a really, really pretty cool success story for our football team this year.
So why did he leave? I mean, you were here when he decided.
Yeah, he just got his degree and was ready to move on with that next chapter of his life. And, there wasn't any mixed agendas or any other stories behind the scenes. Got his degree. That's why every young man comes to college. He was ready to go on and get into the working force and start doing that. Then he found out it wasn't as much fun as he thought it was going to be. Didn't enjoy it as much as he thought it would be. He was back home in Sherman working and really, really missed it here. So when we made a mutual connection, LaMarcus Hicks, myself, Zach Whitfield, it all worked out really good. And I said, how's your mom and dad feel about it? Right after we had talked, and he said, I want to come back. And I said, well, I want you back. And he said, Mom and Dad already got the schedule up on the wall at the house. They can't wait because they're two of the greatest people and one of the great set of parents we've ever had here in North Texas.
Is there any hesitation to put him back out there with so little practice time?
No, I didn't, because what we saw out here, in short time that he was back, he just bought in. He bought in completely. There was great retention. And a lot of the techniques, fundamentals are exactly the same, Brett, even though some of the verbiage was a little different, but not one bit of hesitation.
Who reached out to who first?
I'd be honest with you, I can't tell. I can't remember if it was Zach calling LaMarcus or LaMarcus calling Zach. It was one of those two. Those guys had touched base first before I got involved, just to get a good feel for it. But it all worked out good. Good story, Joe.
He's always said that he's been one of your favorites. What is it about him that's always made him one of your favorite guys?
Which one? I'm sorry.
Whitfield.
Oh, Zach. Just character, personality. We live in this culture nowadays where all young people just want to be entertained rather than challenged. He loves being challenged. I mean, he really does. He loves being challenged, and he's just one of those guys. And no matter if something went great, which it has for him in his career, or something went really poor, which it has in his career, the same guy always came back the next day, and that's what you always want, and you admire so much about young people and competitors and athletes, men and women around the world. When bad things happen, will they come back, and how do they respond to adversity? And he's always been one of those guys, and he just puts a smile on your face. You guys have been around him. He puts a smile on your face when you're around him. He walks in that room, and he can kind of light up that room. Some guys go into the room, and they might light it up, but it's a dim light. But Zach Whitfield's one of those guys that just lights up a room when he walks in there.
Is it nice to see him be able to end his career on a better note?
Oh, yeah, love it. Just love the opportunity and the impact he can have on our football team. I admire him, I respect him, I'm proud of him, and really glad he's back.